All right, let's start talking about variables. In C++, there are different types of variables, which are each defined with different keywords. For example, we have integer up here. Let's just focus on the first one for now. Integer is a data type, and integers store numbers that are whole numbers without decimals, such as 123 or negative 123. Something like, I don't know, 56.78 is not an integer because it has this decimal portion. So, what we want to do is declare an integer variable. And the way we do that, and this goes for pretty much every data type as well, whenever you want to declare a variable, you use the type name, which be int, double, etc., followed by the variable name. And this could be whatever you want. You can name the variable name whatever you want. It's your program. You can do whatever you want. But you might want to name it something relevant to whatever you're using it for. Set it equal to a value. And this can be a number, character, string, etc. So you're gonna see what this means in a second. If this confused you, don't worry, you'll get it in a second. Let's just focus on integers right now. And let's focus on declaring an integer. So let's say we want to create an integer in C++. First, we're going to start with int because we're making an integer. And then we name it whatever we want. This is the variable name portion. So let's come up with a creative name like number. So what we just did, we told the code, hey, create something of an integer data type and name that number. Now, right now, the computer doesn't know, well, what is the number? What's the number? We're going to set this equal to 123. Close that with a semicolon. And congratulations, we just declared a variable of the integer data type. What we basically did was we created an integer named number that has the value 123. We can do the same thing with doubles. Now, doubles, they store floating point numbers. These can include decimals, such as 1999 or negative 1999. And the way we declare a double is almost exactly the same way we declare an integer. We put the type name, which is double in this case, followed by the variable name. We're going to name it whatever we want. It's our code. We can do whatever we want. We'll call it double number. And we set it equal to whatever we want. That is within the parameters of doubles. So we can do a whole number if we want, or we can do a decimal because it's a double. So we'll do 2399. Chars are just short for character, and they store single characters, such as A or B. Chars are always surrounded by single quotes whenever you're declaring them. So let's declare a char value. Let's say we'll just call it letter. We'll set this equal to B, my favorite letter. The next data type is a string, which is similar to char but different. This stores text, such as hello world. Now, you used this before in a similar fashion whenever you printed hello world. But this time, we're storing the contents hello world in the data type. And you'll see what I mean in a second. String values will always be surrounded by double quotes. So when you declare in a string, we put the data type name, string, followed by the name, whatever we want. We'll call this message. And we set it equal to whatever we want. In this case, we'll just do hello world. And the last data type is called a Boolean. These stored values with two states such as true or false. Now, in this case, you only have one or two options when you're setting the value. And you'll see what I mean in a second. But same thing with everything else. We start off with the type. We name it whatever we want. We'll just call it is true. and we'll set it equal to false. But there's another case, and this is the only thing that you can do with this, is either false or true. But I like false better. Let's go false. And that is the value of a Boolean value. Booleans can only be true or false. Strings are only text. Characters are only one singular letter. Doubles are numbers with decimal points, and integers are numbers with no decimal points. So you may be asking yourself, okay, but what's the point? I can take numbers, letters, and text and give it a name, but why would I ever want to do that in programming? Well, here's a great example. Maybe you want to create a message, right? And you want to describe something or you want to say something and you want to use these variables, but you don't want to type out all the contents of the stuff. You just want to use the variable names that you gave them. So let's print out a message, cout. And let's say instead of hello world this time, we'll say my favorite number is, and we want to say that our favorite number is 123. Now we could just type out 123, but why would we do that when we already have a variable named number that is assigned to 123? Why not just use the variable? So we do that by coming out of the quotation marks, adding another ankle brackets to separate the string from the integer, and then we just simply put the name that we gave the integer, number. See how these two are highlighted? That means they're connected. This is the same variable. And I want you guys, before I run this code, to guess what this line here is going to output. Take a second before I run the code. And yeah, you probably guessed it says my favorite number is 123. Notice how we was able to use the integer named number to represent the value 123 in our code. We can do the same thing as well with the rest of the data types. So we'll just print another message. That shirt cost me. And then we'll put the name of the double that we declared. Double number. And you can probably guess what this is going to output. My favorite number is 123. That shirt cost me $23.99. Okay. We want a new line here. Let's run this again. That'll do. Oh, no semicolon. Wait, no, there is. I'm stupid. No brackets. That should work now. There we go. My favorite number is 123. That shirt cost me $23.99. And we can pretty much output the same for the rest of these data types as well. Let's just blow by and do it real quick. All right, so I created a couple more prompts or printouts. And the first one that I have up here is My favorite letter is letter. Another one we have is new message, followed by the message. And we have is this true, followed by is true. And let's run it. Let's see what we get. My favorite number is 123. That shirt cost me $23.99. I forgot to put a new line there. That's my bad. My favorite letter is B. New message. Hello world. Is this true? 0. Now that last one might confuse you. You might be wondering, wait, isn't it supposed to return true or false? Well, in computer science, for the most part, 1 equals true and 0 is equal to false. So whenever you have a Boolean value and you have a variable assigned to false or true, whenever you print it out, it's going to print out 1 or 2. I mean, 1 or 0, sorry. If you wanted to print out either true or false, you're going to have to set up an if statement, and we'll go into that in a later video. But that's about it for variables. These are the basics. I want you guys to practice using variables, declare variables, assign it to whatever name you want, and give it a value that is corresponding to the data type.